Hello, everyone. This is Husain again with another episode of the Get Made podcast. This episode is actually being sponsored by In Style Skin Essentials. Glowing skin is always in style. You can check out our website on this QR code that is going to be displayed on this stream. And again, it's great. It has some great soaps, body butters, beard oils, sugar scrubs, all this thing. I'm looking good anyway, right? So I use some of this product myself. So try this product out, check it out. And again, this podcast is being sponsored by In Style Skin Essentials. This episode, we have a wonderful guest, a great guest, a man of high performance who's been performing at a high level since, hey, I say elementary, right? Probably since birth, but we're going to let him tell us about it. But again, he has been a man who's played in on levels of elementary and football, middle school football, high school football, college football, and even in the NFL. So even after retirement from the NFL, he's still a high performance in the business world as a business consultant in his own businesses. And this is a come from a dynamic team of brothers as well, who also some others brothers have played in the NFL as well. Again, I want to introduce you to my guest this week, Husain Abdullah. Husain, how are you? Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum assalam, and thank you for having me.
Oh man, it's a pleasure, and I appreciate you willing to be on the show. So, just give our audience a brief description of yourself, if you don't mind. I know I touched on maybe a couple of bases, but maybe you can fill in some of those gaps.
Okay, brief description. Man, I'm a Southern California kid. Born in Los Angeles, grew up in a family of 12, big family, eight boys, four girls.
Mm,
And, my step pops, may God have mercy on them, we worked. We worked yard work, newspaper work, doing whatever it was. And that work translated to classwork, and that's where my mother was a stickler, and
mm,
translated to the football field. And so, like you said, I was blessed to be able to play at a high level in high school, earned a scholarship, and played at a high level at Washington State University,
okay.
and at a high level, but did not get drafted. I didn't get drafted. I was an undrafted free agent.
Okay.
But team for the Minnesota Vikings. I never touched the practice squad. Alhamdulillah, I was able to beat that and make the team and play 4 years in Minnesota and 3 years in Kansas City for the Chiefs. Always, finding ways to be productive, be of value, make sure that I was of use. Um, and then upon retiring, starting a business, partnering with Amazon after getting my master's degree, going back to school, getting my master's degree, and
Okay.
trying to be of benefit somehow, some way.
Wow, man. It seemed like again, it seemed like you saw always keep it moving forward. So, and how did you get involved in football? And maybe that's going to be our first question. How did you get involved with football?
Yeah, so my step pops, may God have mercy on him. He
I
my
mean,
step May God have mercy on him. He threw us into football, man. He said, I got all these boys. I ain't raising no soft boys. So football. So that was our start. And so it actually started with my older brother, Abbas. He was the first one to play. And my older brother Hamza. We was kind of like, I don't really know if we want to get involved or not.
mm-hmm.
But pageantry of Pop Warner football. We saw the pads, the helmets, the uniforms, the announcers screaming people's names, the pizza party. We was like, hey. So the next year came around and he was like, who wants to sign up for football? We was ready, 5:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. We was ready to go for sign up. So that
Oh
was kind
wow.
of getting into football.
Wow. Okay. So, and I will ask this question here because a lot of times within, and you grew up as a Muslim. right? And a lot of
Yep.
times there's this shun of playing organized ball or even going to schools or whatever as far as the Muslim family is concerned. How did
Mhm,
that
mhm.
play out within your family structure?
Yeah, I think I think some parents they're looking at they're looking at the bad things that can happen, right?
Hmm.
They're trying to shield and protect because obviously we want to make sure we keep our iman and we keep Allah first, right? So
Hmm.
know, kind of trying to shield their children from harm. But from my family, we're looking at the good that can happen. And the good, well, hey man, we can get school paid for it. And that was one of the biggest things. But I want to go to college for free. If
Hmm.
someone college, we going all in. And so that's actually how my brother Hamza was able to convince my mother to put us back in public school because they homeschooled us. It was a point where Pomona got bad, and so they pulled us out of school, and we were being homeschooled. And then Hamza was like, "Come on, Umi, I think I can earn a scholarship. I can get to school for free." And so
Hmm.
that was going back into public school.
Oh wow. Okay. And so this whole idea of getting your education, playing sports, working, like you're saying, doing yard work, paper routes, and things of nature there allowed you to be in a position of, again, the idea of high performer, right? You had to be in a position of going out there and get it.
Yep, no, absolutely. And I'm not gonna lie to you, as a kid, I hated every second of it. I did
Okay.
waking up at 6 in the morning to drive to who knows where to go rake somebody else's leaves and pull somebody else's weeds or break concrete or dig up this. I didn't like it. I didn't like when, my step husband, God have mercy, would have us go running across the street at the church and running around and doing laps and coming back and doing set. I didn't like none of it until I got on the football field. Then I realized I was different from all the other kids. And so then I was like, okay, I'm running circles around him. I got stamina for days. I'm scoring
Hmm.
touchdowns, giving me high fives. And so then that's when it was like, okay, I see what he's doing. And it took me a while to really understand his game plan. But definitely by the time I got to college, I realized that people weren't willing to do the dirty work. And we had been doing the dirty work our entire life. And so by continuing to outwork people, that's what led to high performance and consistent performance at that.
Right. And I think that's the word that I probably missed in saying, calling it high performance, because high performance is about consistency. Right. And what I'm hearing you say is that you learned consistency by, obviously it was taught to you by your father, your stepfather, and the things that he tried to instill in you, and being able to, that light switch hit for you, and then being able to capitalize on that on your own without even having to be motivated to do so.
Yep. When you grow up in you when you grow up in that arena, when it's like, hey, we got to get these yards done, and then you go work, and then you're like, hey, okay, can I get my money at the end of the day? And he's like, you wait, didn't you? You see the lights on, don't you? You realize that that hard work translates directly into lifestyle, and so now when the lifestyle is a scholarship, I'm going for it. When that life
Mhm.
figure job, seven figure opportunity. I'm going for it. Like Mike Tomlin says, two dogs, one bone. Hey, it's gonna be mine. It's me or you, and it ain't me. You know what I mean? I can make it. You know what I mean? And so
Two dogs
that
and one bone, right?
dog, and they used to say that all the time. He's trying to take food off your plate. It's like not my
Right.
plate. I got dependents. I got to get going. You know, but that was
so
just the work
so is high
ethic.
performance then a sense of, I like to say, consistency and high performance? Then is that just a means of necessity at that point? I mean, is it like I have to have this, so I have no other choice than to perform, to be a high performer?
I mean, everybody goes to someplace different, right? Like some
Mhm.
people you can pull from, like my situation. I'm pulling from, we didn't have much, so I want something. Some people, they were raised in suburbia, they were raised in two-parent families and nice jobs, but still, it's like, okay, I've been living in this lifestyle. I want to continue it, but it really comes down to one of the things about being a high performer is just outworking people. It was cool on the way on the flight today. My son played in his first national 7-on-7 tournament, and we saw Hall of Fame basketball player Steve Nash going through the airport with us. We was at
Steve Nash, right? Used to be
same
with
time
Dallas Mavericks.
with us, and so I saw him, and I just gave him like a little head nod. So he nodded back. So I'm like, okay, I got to ask him. So I said, hey, my son is going to his first uh, national tournament. Can you give him some words of encouragement? He just flat out said, outwork people. He said,
Wow,
just go outwork people because everybody has a point to where they give in. Everybody has a point to where they give up, or everybody says, I'm not going to do this or I'm not going to do that. He was like, just go outwork people. That was it.
wow, wow. That's amazing. And it's crazy because of course, I have a friend, and I'm sure everyone knows him. I'm sure you've heard of him, know him as well. Shadid Muhammad, right?
Mm.
And something that he told me some years ago, he said that for him, he's just going to outwork everybody else,
Yep.
right? And he's going to put more books out. He's going to continue to put these books out, not just because he just want to be known, but it's the work that has to be done. He's going to be up. He's going to do more interviews. He's going to do more classes. He's going to do things. He's just going to outwork everybody else. Is kind of lazy,
Yep.
right? And he's just going to outwork everyone else. Right. And I'm hearing you say the very same thing. You saying it. Steve Nash said it to your son today. And so this is a philosophy that seemed to be instilled by your stepfather.
Absolutely. No, I give him all the credit, and that's why I'm so appreciative of him. In my early days, I was like, man, who is this dude telling me this and telling me that, and that. Now I'm so grateful that he was sent in my life because he taught us that work ethic. Again, waking up on those days where you don't want to, waking up
Mhm,
on those body is hurting, waking up on those days where waking up on those days where you just want to chill. And then not
mhm,
only that, able to go out, put in the work, and when you come back, you give it to the family, you give it to your mother, you give it to your wife, you give it to your daughters, you give it to your children. That's different as a man. You go out, you work, and then you come back and you give everything away. Like so,
mhm,
even to me from a young age, and so I'm
mhm,
extremely of everything he's done.
mhm. So it's amazing that you're saying because many people look at someone like yourself who play professional sports, someone like Steve Nash, and someone like um, you know, um, maybe back in the day, a Steve Jobs or whoever that
Hmm.
might be at the top of their game in whatever field and they think that they have this silver spoon
Yep.
thing going on. Like it's just something that's just, LeBron James or whatever. And they look at someone like this and thinking that they were just given these opportunities,
Hmm.
right? Just somebody just smiled on them and just said, hey, you are the one who actually just deserved this opportunity,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And what I'm hearing you say is no, you got here by because you didn't come from these type of means that you just like any other layman, common man, whatever you want to call it, right?
Hmm.
What sets you apart from anybody else is you're willing to get at it.
Yep. It was there was I saw a high school classmate a couple years ago at the Super
Mhm.
Bowl. I was interviews, and I seen him, and we just looked at each other. And he was like, "Oh, what's going on?" I haven't seen him in years,
Okay.
and going back and forth. He said like he was selling like this shoe cleaner stuff, right?
Okay.
And as we were talking, going back and forth, he said, "Yeah, everybody wasn't lucky enough to make it out, right?" And I just said, "Right," but he's kind of is downplaying my hard work, right? Like,
Right.
why? girls, I'm out there on the field getting it in. While you're trying to be cool, I'm going home to go study. While you're doing this, I'm doing that. And it's like everybody, again, you have to be blessed with something. And I believe that Allah blesses everybody with a unique skill set. Everybody
Right,
has a gift.
right,
But who's going to actually hone that gift? Who's going to actually tirelessly work at that gift? I was not ranked coming out of high school, and then I became a two-star athlete. So that's not, parade All American. Then I get to
for sure, for sure. And what was your other sport, if you don't mind me asking?
oh, I play. It's funny. I tried to play everything because I didn't want to stay at the house because if I was at home, my boss was gonna put me to work. So football. I was on the basketball team. I ran track. I even started swinging a golf club. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm at
Anything to
practice."
stay out the house, right? Anything
Man,
to stay out the house.
look, I see you sitting around here. I'm gonna give you something to do. So I was
Okay.
active.
So in college, what was your second sport?
College was just football. And when you
Oh,
get to
okay.
college, only very few play dual sports. By the time you get to college, because it's just a machine. It's just round the clock.
Oh, okay. 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 And so jumping into the day, because I'm getting to a particular subject. We kind of broke the ice here, and getting to who you are today
Mhm.
after retiring from the NFL. Um, and what year did you retire?
I retired 2016 after the playoffs 2016.
Okay, and yes, with Kansas City.
Yep.
Okay, and so um, I know I got a few friends that like them Chiefs, so I'm a Bengals man. So don't get
Okay.
it twisted. We
Okay.
own you,
They're better.
right?
They're
We
better.
own you, all right.
They're
But we're gonna leave it there, right? We own you, but but nevertheless, after retiring from the NFL and you move into the business world,
Mhm.
what was the difference for you in moving into this genre of doing business, entrepreneurship versus now, it's football, it's this machine, it's
Mhm.
this mega machine because and the NFL is a mega machine,
Yep.
right? So what was the difference? Because at this point is you're a one-on-one player in a sense now.
Mhm. 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 It's a whole new world, and you got to treat it like that. And I had to be honest with myself and say, I don't know how to climb this mountain. I've
Mm,
learned how to climb the mountain in football, but I don't know how to climb the mountain in business. So
mhm.
when I first retired, there was a brother by the name of Safir Rob. And I was like, hey, a Muslim brother out in the Baltimore area. And I
Okay.
was like, can I shadow you? He was like, yeah. So I'm taking flights weekly to go out to Baltimore 2 or 3 days to just watch him do business. I'm just there, just learning. And it didn't
Mm,
matter this, do this, go get the car, go do. I just got done playing 7 years in the league, and now, hey, you need someone to take out the trash? What do you need? How do we got to do this? And I'm just
wow.
learning how entrepreneurship works. I'm learning the art of the conversation. I'm learning how deals are structured. I'm learning this and I'm learning that. I'm learning about government contracting. I'm learning all these different things, and I'm paying for it. And then I'm
Mm,
realizing I don't I don't have it all. So then I go back to school to get my master's degree. So through that, I'm learn again something different. I learned how to lead in a football field. Alhamdulillah, I was named captain in high school, college, and in the NFL.
mhm,
But how do I lead in business? That's a different beast. And how do I lead people who are coming from different walks of life in the
mm,
work world? I had to go learn that skill set. And then when I eventually applied, got a contract with Amazon, I had to realize, okay, hey, I'm good at leading teams. I can build camaraderie. I can do leadership. I can build culture. I can motivate people into going out there and get it in the end in terms of delivery drivers. But I don't know how to do all this admin stuff. All these applications make me tired as soon as I look at them. Right. So I need. Or is we didn't have HR in the NFL. We had a locker room. Anything flew. So now I got
right.
to learn. when it comes to how fast these numbers are moving, I need some help with accounting and payroll. I've never sat in that driver's seat. So aware of myself enough to know that I didn't know enough. And so I sought out guides, I sought out mentors, and I sought out help to help fill the gaps where I needed it.
Wow, wow, because I'm hearing you talk, and the thing that I was thinking, and you just said the word in itself, mentorship, right? There seem you put yourself in an apprentice
Hmm. Hmm.
level position,
Hmm.
right? And then you swallowed your ego because obviously at the NFL, at the height of your career, I'm not getting into your money. Obviously, you're making more money than many people,
Yep.
right? And not only that, you're being catered to
Hmm. Hmm.
a particular way, right? Because you are an NFL player, right? So now you coming from that positioning in life and saying, "Hey, you know what? I got to break this thing down. I got to learn
Yep.
something here." Right. And so who do I get up under first? And then when I get up under him, I'm going to do what needs to be done so I can learn.
Hmm.
So in some instances, we call that gopher situation, right? I go for this, I go for that, I do whatever I'm asked to do.
Yep.
But you learn in that process how, and well, you've already said that because many people couldn't swallow that.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm sure you encountered other people who've had a hard transition coming out of the NFL and getting into the real world. And I've heard people who even talk like this about the military. Once they got out the military, it was kind of like hard for them to adjust to civilian life,
Yep.
right? So as a man, and we talking about, this again, this podcast is called the Get Made podcast. That made is manhood, accountability, development, enrichment,
Hmm.
right? You then the demand of accountability on your part to swallow that.
Yep.
When did that hit you? After was it sooner than later? Did you go through a whole bunch of bump your head up against a wall in that? When did that hit you?
One of the things, the beauty of Islam is we're always preparing for the afterlife, right?
Hmm.
Pray every day about the afterlife. We want a good ending because we want a good afterlife.
Hmm.
And so what people don't realize is we're constantly going through transitions in life to get to that afterlife. So after middle school, there's high school. So you got to prepare for that.
Hmm.
After college, so you got to prepare for that.
Hmm.
After the league, or you jumped into the real world, the business
Right.
world,
The
and so
workforce. Right. Hmm.
right. And so at every stage, I was trying to learn how to not only master the stage I was in, but
Hmm.
also the stage that came next. And so when I was in high school, I'm trying to ask my brother because he's in college, how do you do this? How do you do that? When I
Hmm.
get to all the older guys, how do I become successful at this level? And then when we had some people go to the league,
Hmm.
when they finished their degrees, I was following them around. Tell me this, tell me that. What do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do that?
Hmm.
NFL, not only am I talking to the guys in the league in terms of how do you become successful, but then also I'm seeing the downside of it, and I'm seeing people being forced retired, whether it's by injury or by them saying you're not good enough to play anymore, whatever it may be.
Hmm.
Some people, very few walk away on their own merit, and so I'm seeing this, and I'm like, oh man, I need to make sure I'm prepared for that too. So therefore, I may be making $300,000, but I'm gonna live as if I'm making 60, right?
Oh
Because
wow. Okay.
I'm doing right by my money, right? And
Hmm.
then I got doing different things. Like for example, I thought I wanted to be an academic advisor at a university, first at high school and then at a university level.
Hmm.
So my fifth year with the Kansas City Chiefs, I contacted our player personnel guy and I said, "Hey, can you get me an internship to be an academic advisor?" So for 10 weeks when I was doing the off season, when I was doing my off season training out in Dallas, Texas, I would drive out to Nacogdoches, Texas for 2 or 3 days and I was a guidance counselor to athletes at a
Mhm.
university.
Okay.
10 football team. So I would check in with them. We talk about their grades, talk about their school, their structure, this to that, and then I would come back and I would drive back out there weekly. This is I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not getting paid mileage. I'm not getting, but I wanted that experience to know, is this what I want to do in life? And I was able
Okay.
to say what I want to do. Then I was able to do the same thing in terms of franchising. I went to the University of Michigan. They had a franchise boot camp, and I'm checking in to see, is this what I want to do? But
Mhm.
in even while I'm in the NFL, I'm preparing for that next step. And that accountability piece is big, man, because if you lie to yourself, you'll never make it. You like and as a man, if you lie to yourself, you're done. So you got to
Okay.
be honest with yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself and say, um, what do I know? What don't I know? Where am I good at? Where do I need help? Where do I need a
Wow.
guide? Holes do I have to fill? And the more honest you can be with yourself, or if someone says, hey, Hussein, you messed up X, you know what? I did. Instead of making excuses or justifying whatever it may be, you got to sit in it, you got to take it, you got to learn from it, and then you got to grow. So that was a big piece in terms of just always preparing for that hereafter, if you will.
Wow. And so, and I like how you said this, Hussein, because again, if I look at the acronym for MADE, right, we're saying building manhood. I'm
Hmm.
hearing how you were trying to prepare yourself, position yourself with manhood for manhood,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And taking it and looking at the transitions that may need to take place in life, right? And then I'm hearing you how you are demanding accountability with yourself. Hey, if I mess up somewhere, then I have to own that. I have to sit in that. It might be uncomfortable, but I have to sit in my discomfort, right?
Hmm.
And I have to correct myself where I need to be corrected, right?
Yep.
And I'm also hearing how you promoting development within yourself. You took the opportunity, you paid for your development. If it was going to Texas, out to this to the school out here in Texas, or if it was flying out here to Baltimore, or if it was going up to Michigan, you took those opportunities, right, to develop to be the person that you wanted to be. And you went and gathered the tools for enrichment, how to make yourself better. You got the tools to make yourself better, right? And so this is what we are looking at when we talk about that get made process, right? And so, and that's important, right? Because one, you talked about consistency. Two, we talking about what it just takes to just be prepared in this life moving towards the next. Your thoughts on some of this I just said.
Hmm. Yeah, man. The way I like to explain professionalism, especially to my son, because he's 16 and he's getting ready to go on his manhood journey. He's about to get that thing started. And I say,
Mm-hmm.
look, professionalism is the basics, the fundamentals done extremely well at an extremely high level,
Mm-hmm.
really, really, really fast. That
Continuously, really, really fast.
really like the best basketball player, baseball player, go study track athletes, tennis players, everybody oohs and ahs about the highlight. But
Mm-hmm.
man, so fundamentally sound. They do not mess up. They do the same thing every single time, and
Mm-hmm.
they do extremely fast. That's it. And the more consistent you can be at that over time, that is what professionalism is. And so, in order to do that, you got to invest in yourself. I remember, I think it was my rookie year or after my rookie year, it
Mm-hmm.
was it was like off-season training to go get a trainer and get set up. It was like I think like 15 or $20,000, right?
Okay.
I'm not spending no 15, $20,000. I just man, it's my first time making money. I'm not giving no money away to some trainer. I'm just gonna go work out on my own. And
Mm-hmm.
then teammates, Madu Williams, he was one of the older guys. He said, he said, he said, Abdullah, he said, if you make the team next year, how much money you gonna make? I said, $500,000. He said, if you don't make the team next year, how much you gonna make? I said, I don't know. He said, "Don't you think it's worth $20,000 to make $500,000?" I was like, "That doesn't make sense." You know what I mean? So you got to be able to invest in wherever you
Hmm.
see.
So you got to spend a little to get a lot, right?
You got to.
And a lot of times I want our audience to know that even though we are talking money and money is a real situation, it's not only money, but I'm hearing you also say time. Invest in that time in what it is that you need to do, right? Because time is just as about as valuable as money as well, right?
Yep. Yep. No, time is after the divine resource and the connection with God, time is the most valuable resource we have. And most people waste too much time. You hear a lot of people say, "I'm just passing the time. I'm just trying to kill time." Man, that is your life. Why are you
Mm,
killing? Like you got to be putting in time. Like I don't watch TV shows. Why am I invested in some sitcom? I'm trying to go build a better me. I'm trying to go be impactful with my family or my community. And
mhm.
so take that step. Just like in the NFL, I mean, from you talking about from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., you're in the building being evaluated nonstop. You're either working out or you're watching film or you're at practice or you're in treatment. You do all of that stuff. And when you get home, you just want to relax and chill. But those people who pick up that iPad or and they go study that film to just get a little bit better, to just get a tail on the opponent, just to be able to do this. Those are going to be the people who you ultimately see. Oh, this was a guy we didn't think he could make it in the league, but he turned it into a 7-year career. He turned
Right,
it into starter. He turned it into being on Pro Bowl list. Why is that? Because he put in just a little bit more time than the other guys. So you got to be able to invest that resource of time, man. In our day and age, how many people are on that death scroll of social media, just scrolling away and wasting time and looking at everybody else's life through a window, wishing that it was theirs. If you want,
mm,
to get out there and
wow.
go.
But falling for that lie, falling for that lie,
It's everybody fronting. Everybody
right?
ain't living like that. They fronting.
Wow. I'm glad you said it, brother, because if I was to say it, somebody probably get me because I know my life is on social media a little bit, right? But really, hey, I got it hard just like everybody else have it. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to
Man,
pay bills just like everybody else have. I'm trying to make sure I do these podcasts and get these sponsorships so I can pay bills, right?
agree. Man, I'm telling you, man, there's people they faking it to the point to where they got this thing where people go and rent money. They go rent money to make it seem like they got money to try to sell some kind of scam or hustle you or show that they doing it big or whatever. But they literally rent money and then giving it right back. It's like you gonna pay money
Wow.
to hold somebody else's money, like that. That don't make no sense, right?
Right.
But everybody is trying to show off all the time instead of just going to go work and then just going to go living your life. But again,
Right.
just being able to enrich yourself with knowledge and understanding, being able to humble yourself and go sit at the feet of scholars, become a better feet of the scholars in Islam. You want to become a better businessman, you go sit at the feet of the scholars who can make the bread. You want to become a
Right.
better and you want to become a better husband or a better man, you better go get you a mentor and a counselor and say, "Hey, brother, help me. This is my first time being 38 years old. You already been there. You already done that. Help guide me. Hold my hand and show me where I'm supposed to be going." Right?
Man, it's funny because I tell people that all the time, right? Especially and we Muslims here. So
Mhm.
there's we have this thing that's out here in the world that we deal with polygyny as far as men. And so
Yep.
a lot of men who want to do it, right? And then don't
Mhm.
have a clue about how to go about it. It's already rough and hard as it kind of is anyway, because
Yep.
it's marriage. It's just marriage to multiple women, right? And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, why don't you go and sit up under somebody who is doing it and who has been doing it for a while
Yep.
and get some understanding and learning? Even you'll see the things that they've done well, and you'll hear about the things that they haven't done so well.
Yep. No, there's a difference between, I always say there's a difference between theory and practice. When
Mm-hmm.
we're in the film room and the coach is drawing X's and O's on the board, okay, that's the theory, okay. But when we get out there and practicing in the game, it look a whole lot different. And
Right.
so
Because it's
we
full
can,
speed, it's full speed at that point,
it's
right?
man, and it's full bullets is flying when you're out there. And so, marriage is the same thing. Again, we talking about polygyny. You talking about a multiple. So, in theory, okay, alhamdulillah, Allah said we can do it in
Right.
theory. But
Right.
Allah, I'm telling you, if you can't handle this, one is best. So
Right.
you better get someone who.
So if you got to be at your peak performance, right? You got to be at your peak of your game. This is what's gonna happen. It ain't gonna be easy.
It's a
Wait, man. You know what? And alhamdulillah, I appreciate you saying that, right? Because a lot of times, even though people want to do it, right? And I do believe that I know some men who would probably be well and do well at it. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It just
Yep.
means that they'll be capable of doing it and then weathering, as you say, the bullets,
Yep.
right? That's going to be shot at them,
Absolutely.
right? And they'll be able to weather that. But and I really do appreciate you coming on. And in closing, right? I want to give you a few minutes to kind of just talk to our audience about high performance. That's what we've been talking about pretty much today. And you shared some of your insight about
Mhm.
it. And I want to give you the floor for a minute. I'm gonna make sure that I don't ask another question after you finish, because you will
Mhm.
say something I will, so I'm gonna have to refrain from it, right?
Okay. Okay.
But I want you to be able to talk to the audience, give them talk to the men,
Mhm.
right? I want you to talk directly to the men. I know we got a lot of sisters on here as well, right? But talk to the men, and maybe the sisters can learn something in the process. But talk to the men about high performance and how they can be a better high performer.
Yep. Okay. So, to my brothers, um, the best of all men is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the reality is we're not him and we're not even close, but we got to try. And you got to try, you got to do everything you can to challenge yourself to get like his example. When they say, oh, it's a sunnah, it's not just for happenstance. You got to try to get close to that. Just recently, me and a group of brothers, we walked the hijrah from Mecca to Medina. And in that, man, my love and appreciation for the Prophet Muhammad SAW just grew because I'm learning more about him and I'm seeing where I think I'm doing a good job, but then I see what his example was. And so I have to be honest with myself and hold myself accountable. Am I striving to close that gap? Right? Am I continuously striving to work on myself? Because at the end of the day, his character was that of the Quran. And are we striving to do that? I always tell people that, I believe the Quran allows or Islam allows a human being to reach their fullest potential
Mhm.
because be honest with yourself in everything. And you have to hold yourself accountable for everything because Allah is going to hold you accountable. So you can't lie to yourself. And so if you want to be a high performer, you have to follow the example of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
That's right.
And sports, like one of the beautiful thing about sports is we love seeing no wasted movement. If you want to see like I love seeing Kyrie Irving play basketball. There's no wasted movement in the way he dribbles the ball. It's art. When you see
Mm.
receivers run their route or the way a defensive back plays or you see a tennis play, there's no wasted movement. And that's professionalism. And then that's how you get to high performance. But when you look at the Prophet Muhammad SAW, there's no wasted time. He didn't waste a second. He was always being of purpose in one way or another. And so that's what we're chasing, that no wasted time. And just in the little things, man, just being consistent in the little things, you ultimately become a high performer. Man, I'm
Mm.
average weight, I'm average speed, I'm average strength, I'm dead average in everything. I'm a high performer because just being consistent and outworking people over time and striving to be like the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So that's that's what I can give to you in terms of how you become a high performer.
Wow, man, that was beautiful, bro. I'm telling you, I got like 10 questions that came right behind that. I ain't gonna lie to you, right? It just I could take this interview like another 45 minutes, man, just on that alone, right? But I really do appreciate it. And again, I think the message again is that let's not waste time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not waste moves,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's not have wasted or unnecessary movement. Let's be
Mm-hmm.
deliberate and intentional about the things that we do.
Yep. That's how you
Wow,
do it.
mashallah. All right. Well, again, I thank you, Husain, for being a part of this podcast. Again, being one of the made men. This is what I'm calling these brothers now, made men. I really appreciate you and the time that you spent with us today. And again, I thank everyone for tuning in. Of course, please share this podcast. You can catch us streaming here on Facebook, obviously, and on YouTube at the Get Made Podcast. Please, by all means, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And we want to grow this thing to something bigger and better. And again, you can follow Husain anywhere that they can find you.
Yep, my Twitter and my Instagram is the same. It's H Abdullah 39.
Okay. H Abdullah 39. That's on Twitter and Instagram. And again, you can find me on Instagram at the official Hassan Clay. And we're going to see you guys next week. Be blessed. Ramadan Mubarak to all my Muslim brothers and sisters. Peace to all my other brothers and sisters out there who love being around. And I love you. And we're going to see you next week.